Hi, I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we are focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom and preparing his disciples. Now, we started a new Bible study on the book of Haggai, which is one of the shorter books of the minor prophets. And today we're going to talk about the word that the Lord gave to Haggai to deliver to the governor that is over the kingdom of Judah, and then also the high priest. And it was a strong word. It was a word of rebuke, but it was also a word of encouragement. But see, there were things that the people of God had begun to, it was a lifestyle that they were living. They were living a lifestyle where they said, Lord, things are difficult and we've got to put ourselves first. We've got to take care of ourselves. Listen to this. You'll see what I mean. Verse 2 of the first chapter. This is what the Lord Almighty says. These people say the time has not yet come to rebuild the Lord's house. What? This is exactly what the people of God were released from their captivity to go do. Go back home and rebuild the temple, is what Cyrus had told them many years before that time. So he sent the exiles, as many as that wanted to go, back to Israel to rebuild the temple. They got there. They found that things did not go as easy as they had hoped. And so they started building. They got some of the foundation built, but then they stopped. It was just too difficult. It was too hard. I mean, they had people all around them coming against them, speaking against them. It was too hard. So we'll just take care of ourselves. If I've not heard it once, I've heard it a million times. Well, you got to put yourself first. Well, that's not what the Lord says. The Lord says, seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Well, the people of God, this is what the Lord told him. He said, listen, the word of the Lord came through the prophet Haggai and says, is it time for you yourselves to be living in your paneled houses while this house remains ruined? So that tells us they had money, they had time, they had the resources to build their own houses, nice houses, paneled houses, but yet they don't have the time, the resources, or the desire to build God's house. Well, this was a very stark rebuke to the governor that was ruling over God's people in Jerusalem at that time, and it was a rebuke to the high priest. Apparently, they had built their own paneled houses, nice houses, and they were living in, I wouldn't say splendor, but they were living nice, and God's house was a ruin. In verse 9, we're told that the Lord prophesies, my house that lies in ruins, while each of you busy yourself with your own house. What was the result of this? Of putting themselves first? Well, it wasn't good. Listen to this. Starting with verse 9. The Lord said, you expected much, but see, it turned out to be little. What you brought home, I blew away. That's what the Lord says. Why? Declares the Lord Almighty, because of my house, which remains a ruin, while each of you is busy with your own house. Therefore, because of you, the heavens have withheld their dew, and the earth its crops. I called for a drought on the fields and on the mountains, on the grain, the new wine, the olive oil, and everything else the ground produces, on people and livestock, and on all the labor of your hands. Otherwise, the Lord says, listen, I am not going to bless you as long as you put other things before me and my house. That's a word of the Lord, not only for them, but for us. Let's talk more about it tomorrow.